YouTube. We in there?
Yeah.
Oh, I see it. We up. Yes, sir. How's that shot looking? Okay. It's just because Triz is not in the shot yet.
No.
I don't know if we need to adjust anything.
I think we good. I think we are good over here. I don't know if you want to jump in. Oh, that'd be dope if it did. All right.
Well, hey everybody.
Yeah, let me not talk to Trizza the entire time. What's good, everybody?
What's happening?
Welcome to another episode of Unquantized Podcast. I see Young Realistic is in the building.
Young Realistic was popping, bro.
Hey, Realistic. What's up, man?
Yes, indeed. Simba, what up?
Young Simba, what up?
Trizza's in the building. Young Trizza, what up?
I'm here.
He's here.
Yes, sir. We are in here with a special guest. We will get to the intro in just a second. Beats Music, I see you, man. What's happening?
Young Busy Works Beats was popping.
Young Busy. Quintendo, I see you.
Got the whole squad. You said Beats Music. DJ Bass Drop, what up?
That's a dope name.
That is.
Wait, how many underscores in that? I didn't see it.
Oh, it's at least 2.
Oh, okay, I was like, whoa, that's a good name. If you got that joint on Instagram, you killed it. You've been here since 08. What up? H2O Ave, what's up, family? How you feeling? All right, Young Triz, let me know when you are ready and we can officially get into it.
Let's go.
All right, what's up, everybody? I guess before we get into the introduction of our guests, we will play the good old intro theme song made by Young Chambers. Let's get into it.
You're now watching the Unquantized Podcast. Tune in on Instagram or YouTube to build with the producer community. Live on Fridays, 4 p.m. Eastern.
Trick love the kids.
They're gonna stop doing a trick like that.
Yo. I got so many questions about that Trick Daddy picture, bro.
Yeah, we gotta get to that in a minute.
Trick is, yeah.
But everybody, what's good? So it's another Friday, but it's not your typical show. We are joined by this great guest here. This is Demand. Demand is such a man of so many hats and so many talents. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let him introduce himself and tell you a little bit about what he does. So
Well, I appreciate it, Oracle.
Hey, man, thank you, bro.
You had to hit me
Thanks
with
for coming
that,
through.
with the
Man, many
multiple talents, multiple
come
hats.
on, man. He got on the hat right now. He
Right.
got 4 more hats in the car.
Right, I'm ready
One
to go.
underneath that hat.
Right.
Take that hat off.
Just
Another
ready.
one.
Yeah. It's your man, Demand, also known as DJ Demand. I'm an A&R. You know me from A&R with Andre Williams, Universal Think Tank. Also, I swim with Sharks Inc. I am a content creator, creative director, project manager. That goes into the A&R, but all of that kind of good stuff. That's kind of what goes into the bag.
Man, that's amazing. So, out of all of those hats and all of those things that you do, the one thing I know you for the most would be A&R.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first question I want to ask you is, what does an A&R do?
And A&R stands for Artist and Repertoire. And basically what they do is project manage. You know, they are the ones that make sure whatever the guidelines from the artist or from the record label is sought through for the project. So if that's making sure that this artist is going a certain tempo or a certain way with their music, they're the person to make sure that the producers are in line, the songwriters are in line, also the studio time, all those little etches that happen in that between time, and then they're the person who communicate from that point towards probably somebody else in marketing or whatever that other outlay is to start getting that process together too.
Dope. That's quite a job.
Yeah.
Once you ask most people, they would probably say A&R is somebody that sees somebody talented and they take them to a label and they say, here's the talent. But I don't think a lot of people know about the background and the logistics that really go into it.
And the reason why I answer it like that is because usually they work for somebody or towards actually doing a project. So you can say you're an A&R, but you have to A&R something. You know what I'm saying? Like you have to be a part of something to do that portion. Scouting talent, like you said, or picking, who's dope. That's a part of usually when you're already a part of something else. So that's why that'll be a whole nother hat. But your normal primary responsibility is to make sure normally that projects are seen, you know, and put together the way they're supposed to be.
Dope. Yeah, that's pretty dope, man. So project management.
Yeah.
All right, that's cool. And we're familiar with project management from a whole
Right.
another side of things. But I guess every business does need a project manager.
Right.
So in keeping with the theme of A&R, what are some taboos about how artists approach A&Rs? Like, what are some things that artists and producers simply should not do when approaching an A&R? And then what are some things that they should do?
Okay, I mean, to not do. I can say it's the press nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's so many different ways to overly, oh, let me send this, let me DM, let me text you, let me call you, let me. It's good to get that kind of energy with shit. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you want that shit to be natural.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want it to be something where I could go through my day and then I could think about you rather than having a note that you hit me up all through the last 48 hours. You know, I'm alive, I'm with it. You know,
Right,
but
exactly.
if you give me a chance to get into the mode where I can best suit you and we can have a real conversation, then we can make that connection. It ain't no rush to do it now because now I got to think about the whole project management and scouting part. You know what I'm saying? So when we have that conversation, we're going to have a real conversation, not just you telling, hey, bro, this shit hot. This shit going down. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, no, I need to know, you know, who's backing you. Like, how's the last record done? You know what I'm saying? Like, who you been working with? Were you happy with their production? You know what I'm saying? Like, were you happy with the outlet that you did with, you know, putting it out towards so-and-so DJs or whatever? So at least I know what I can be able to help you with, you know? But if you don't let me know those things, and we just talk about whatever you want to talk about, then I'm not helping you in the long run.
That makes sense. It sounds like it's safe to say fairly curated communication.
Yeah. That's the perfect way to say it.
Not too much.
Yeah.
Not too little. And when you communicate, I guess it should be of substance.
Right. Yeah. And I mean, just realistic. You know, I mean, I would want somebody to just hit me up and let me know where their project went or where this song went, or, you know, that this campaign went good, this campaign went bad. You know, like, I don't want to be the person, of course I'm going to ask, but it holds a bare responsibility. Like, damn, you better ask me real shit. Yes, I can help you for real. You know what I'm saying?
You got to know the numbers.
But, and I guess to answer your second part, what they can do is what you just said, like, really want to build a relationship. You know, like that over a time period, like we talked about already off camera and with everything, is like that time period of being patient and being able to say, okay, well, it might not have been the time to communicate right now, but I'm not going to have a attitude and take it personally and be like, well, fuck that, this, that, and the other. You got to be able to communicate in a way that you would want somebody to communicate with you, you know? So during that time period, just literally, if you did send it, hey, you know, a easy follow-up kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, how are you, goddamn? Let me see how everything is with you. Have you had a chance to take in or look at what I sent you? Because I know you're busy. You know what I'm saying? I'm not pandering to nobody. But it's literally, if you were to get to an A&R or get to that producer and stuff, you would want to respect that they would be busy. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely say with communicating in that way where you want to build a relationship over that time.
That's dope. That's a gem. This is one of the reasons why he was on our panel at our last live event, and one of the reasons why we'll ask you to be on the panel at the next live event too.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, do we have anything in the chat? I saw some things rolling in. I don't want to neglect the chat.
Just a lot of demand dropping gems from the jump.
You already know.
Just a lot of praises right now.
Man. Appreciate that. You know, we just getting started. We just getting cooking.
So outside of A&R, and you've done a lot of things. You've done things with SoundCloud, and Spotify, and Universal, and all of these things. Which was your favorite project or company to work with? And, like, what was the process like on it?
I mean, I say that was the question I told you about. It was a little bit of all of them in different points.
Yeah.
I had to say the SoundCloud thing happened, and that was one of my favorite things because I still wasn't at being an A&R yet. That was literally me as a DJ, you know, curating and getting all those different lists together to then, you know, get to that point. And then live mixtapes came along and they were starting club tapes. You remember club tapes?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah. So we were one of the first ones when I did a project with DJ Speedy, when we did the Outkast EDM project. That was one of the first ones they were launching off of that platform. So when those numbers happened on club tapes, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's when that predicated into the SoundCloud situation where I was getting the highlights. I was able to do the remixes like I was telling you, and I was able to start accumulating even more numbers at that point. So like literally seeing how they operate, you know, from being able to connect those two,
Right.
that was amazing enough in itself.
Man, that's pretty dope. So what was like the natural progression from there?
Well, that's when you say to Spotify, you know, like seeing how they really started building their business algorithms at that point to really start helping artists and seeing how it could go into marketing. That's really what cut me out from being able to necessarily do mixes and putting that kind of stuff out, because now streaming is heavy, you know what I'm saying? So now those companies are the ones that have to really push those artists or really have some kind of investment, like you'll see how Universal or how Warner, they have their percentages in Spotify because hell, they gotta at least go ahead, that's their recoupment. Now being on Hulk Share or live mixtapes or this, that, and the other, that's not benefiting them at that point. So they needed to be able to start curating the artist, playing a little bit more to know, okay, this you're gonna see this pop up a little bit more on what's going on, or let's hurry up and get this song out from this person because we know we can capitalize. And now you see the other media and stuff. So seeing that one was another point from that to be like, okay, this is dope as hell, because at least I'm able to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I wasn't a victim of it changing, but I kind of was. I was so heavy into just putting the product out and breaking new artists. When Future dropped the record, it didn't matter at that point, kind of stuff. But I do a remix and I got 10,000 streams real quick, kind of stuff. They want that. They want that little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's a whole culture and community in itself that once I started changing, okay, like let me see how I can operate and be able to move along in that too. Yeah. So yeah, it's a little bit of both of them, all of them.
That's dope. Not to sidetrack from the conversation, but before we were talking, I was talking about the Hip Hop Evolution season 3 or whatever it is. By the way, check that season out if you haven't. It's on Netflix. It's pretty dope. But one of the episodes they did was on mixtapes and the mixtape culture. Oh yeah. And they talked about how like the whole drama and canon thing, and how that really like changed the whole culture for it. And then that's kind of where streaming, and somebody pointed out like that was a real pivotal point for music, how music is consumed, and it does kind of get overlooked because it was a moment, but that was a really big change. Man.
I agree, because I mean I saw it from that end, and it was like you could be able to, you know, to use the term lucid pirate so much. But at the same time, it was making moves, you know what I'm saying? Because that was the way it was consumed.
The artist was happy with it.
Right, the artist was happy with it.
Label wasn't happy with it. Right. That's the thing.
Right. You cutting into it way too early and too quick kind of stuff.
Man,
so
live mixtapes. I remember you hosting mixtapes with live mixtapes and stuff like that. That was like the judge.
Yeah, that was everything.
and so I know you mentioned you doing remixes. How do you feel like remixes have helped you as far as get your name out?
Yeah, I mean, tremendous. Like, the biggest fact that it can get that whole EDM, what we talk about, festival community, you know what I'm saying? Like, and plus it's a whole UK community. It's a whole, you know what I'm saying, trap step community. There's so many ones that still love Lil Uzi Vert or love, you know what I'm saying, whoever you remixing. That, I mean, if I can still put them out now and get the clear half the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, real shit, just because it's like, to get that whole other base of people, and that's what opened people up towards me. So even when I made my transition, they loved me just because it was like, oh, you doing something that's just out the box kind of thing. Now I literally started like, folks trashed me. We real on here kind of stuff. Okay, this is the unreal. I looked the word up because I wasn't sure what it meant. I'm keeping it real. Because I wanted to be right. I knew what it meant. I was like, okay, I'm going with it. Unfiltered. But I remember a lot of club DJs and a lot of those promoters trashing me before like that wave of Flow Rider, you know what I'm saying? Like all that kind of music like really started to go and say, oh yeah, because it didn't go into the format of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then to see how pivotal the Pitbull, You know what I'm saying? Like all that stuff, J-Lo another whole time around. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like when the Runners was producing
yeah.
stuff and going
Wow.
up kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that kind of stuff. That was that whole time when it was like that was easy for them kind of stuff because
Right.
that festival community was growing. But they didn't see that in clubs like, you know, opera unless it was somebody coming kind of
Exactly.
shit. Like you could do this in an urban and a good night and put this trap that was building in here and really make something flow. And
Right.
then that's Diplo and them. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Exactly.
all that now. When we could have had that kind of community here kind of stuff and we were
Right.
just a little bit more open if it wasn't just on the east side or if it wasn't just
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying,
definitely.
like here and there and these little steps and stuff.
Yeah.
Like let's keep all these communities together because like nonetheless I always saying people have a good time off that shit. They
Oh,
have
they
a good
love
time
it.
off that music. You know what I'm saying? So
It's crazy. I slowed down doing remixes for the same reason.
Yeah.
I kept getting copyright strikes. I kept
Yeah.
getting all these jobs.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, like,
bro, I was at my first like million on SoundCloud, and that's what happened. Like, I got the rest of them strikes, and like literally, I was paying their ass to pro. that was before I was like, I was a studio manager and still like intern and all that kind of shit.
You're
You
right.
know what I'm saying? Like just doing that whole thing, but still putting that shit out.
You're
And I'm
right.
like, man, I'm almost at my whole meal, and they were like, ha, you're not on SoundCloud anymore, buddy.
Get out of here.
So
That's a shame because I mean that was a good time. Though,
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
random remix. Like as soon as something come out, just random remixes.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think you could still do it. You just can't do like Rihanna. You can't do big artists.
right,
gotta do it.
right,
They
right,
definitely
right,
coming for you.
right,
But if you do like an up and coming person,
right.
you would get away with it, I think.
Yeah.
okay. So hold on, I'm trying to gauge what an up and coming. Could you do like a JID remix?
Yeah, I think you could get away with that. But if you try to do like a Beyonce,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got
You
it.
could probably get away with the JID. Just
See,
depending
yeah, I
on
don't know
what
where
it's
the
a risk
line
though.
is.
It's such a risk though.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
I-
Interscope gonna be like,
yeah, right. I started a new YouTube channel because my last one I would DJ on it, and I got 2 strikes on it.
are you serious?
2 copyright
Just-
strikes, and I think you only can get 3. So I was like, I might as well just
I'm
start
out
it.
of
Yeah,
my business.
yeah, and that's how my SoundCloud is now. Like I was putting stuff in, pretty good numbers and stuff. And it was
Right.
like they just randomly gave me one for my last gas on Wednesday, and I was like, look, man, what y'all want me to do, man? Like, just wanted to put it out.
That's the first thing I ever put on SoundCloud. I did a Meek Mill remix,
Oh, for real?
and that's only it kind of went,
Mhm.
but
Yeah.
I was scared after that. I didn't do no
Oh,
more.
Yeah.
I was done. I was like, all right, one
Oh,
and
man.
done, son.
Once you get to that glory point on that, I just couldn't stop, man.
Yeah,
I couldn't.
that's real.
I just couldn't stop.
I was
But
scared.
they literally went back on an old one because the numbers went up. I did fuck up some commas with Reezy Renegade and just flip that shit, and
Oh, that's right.
it started just going up because the Future really going up on that whole
Right.
another level. And that song,
Right.
man, they came back around after that shit done like 8-9 months of numbers. It was
Right.
like, oh, we're taking you down for this. I was like, come on, man. And that was my last strike. So trust me, I was
At least you went out with a bang.
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, have you seen like you mentioned Reezy Renegade? It made me think of it. Have you seen how much he's blown up on TikTok?
Yeah.
They
With
have a
K-Camp.
challenge called the Renegade
Renegade
Challenge
Challenge.
because his tag is in the part where they dance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they just call it the Renegade. They ignored it as K-Camp
K-Camp.
song.
Right.
Yeah.
They completely ignored that
They're
part.
like, yeah.
It's the Renegade.
Yeah.
And they have no idea that he's a producer. They just
Yeah.
hit a tag and it's like, oh. So
Hey,
that
I
made me
believe
think
that's
how important
TikTok
tags
culture
are.
right there. Yeah, that's straight TikTok culture.
Yeah.
Are you with the TikTok wave? Like, do you monitor TikTok?
I'll look at it, but I'm not on there kind of. So
Mm-hmm.
if somebody's got a little wave or something, then I kind of see it and I'll
Right.
kind of see how far it's going. But other than that,
Got you. Well, speaking of things changing and platforms and the industry changes, where do you see the industry going in the next 5 to 10 years, and how do you think like producers and artists can kind of gear themselves to be ready for it?
I think it's just being prepared to be even more independent than what's even going on now. We're able to make so many platforms, and now that content is so key, just from not just the auditory but the visual part too. That now they'll be able to really control whether if it's more of getting sponsors, or really obtaining some kind of distribution that's just, what I'm saying? Like, and they don't have to necessarily give up, all their rights to their music and all that kind of stuff. And that the majors won't necessarily matter as much, just for the simple fact that they've got to be able to come with something that's going to be whatever it is, whether they projecting that shit on walls or something in 20 years. You know what I'm saying? Like some shit like that. That's just something that we can't obtain. But I think with so many resources and stuff now, and the fact that they can educate themselves. And like you said, like producers, they can go get sync placements. You know what I'm saying? Like they can go and create their own whole brand of stuff and be like a Kaytronada that don't really, you know what I'm saying? But he just makes it, and all these artists gravitate to them, and that could be a situation where you got your own publishing house or something, and you just put down artists so you could. Shit, you ain't gotta worry about nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I think it's just gonna turn into that where everybody's pretty much just got that much kind of control in it. So the parts and the team will just be important. You know what I'm saying? Like that'll be you're not waiting to get out there to somebody and then they assign you somebody and then you sign a manager. Nah, at that point, you know what I'm saying? Like if you're an artist and you feel like you need that, cool. If not, they probably really need to have their whole goddamn foot in there too, the same way that you do, not off of clout or off of what they say they can do kind of stuff. It's now turning into what can you do. You know, like, so I think it'll just turn into that. And of course it'll shift because this is that business kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? But I think it'll definitely serve the people who are trying to grow a lot faster.
Yeah, it's forever changing.
Yeah.
We have it's not a misconception or a theory on the show, or at least I have a theory. When people say, should I be independent or should I look to get signed? And the theory is now, because everybody has access to prove themselves, that if I'm a label or I'm an A&R, I'm looking for people that have already won the independent game, and I know what value they bring to the table. So am I off in that theory of saying that labels and A&Rs are picking people that have already won independent?
Yeah, no, you 100% right about that.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. It's just a testing and
And what you said, the model changed so much. You know what I'm saying? Like now you've got to be able to see it because a label is like a bank. Any person or investor at that point, company is like a bank. They're leaning off of your proven record to give you money or to, you know what I'm saying, put you in that position kind of stuff. So at that point, you might as well have it for yourself. So then when you go to that table, it's not I signed this and this and the other. No, now you literally have to do that to get that yield. But what I just said, like you can do that yourself and then still dictate, you know what I'm saying, the other end once you get to that.
That's dope. But if you get to a certain point, is it worth it? Do you think it's still worth it to now go with a label? So like if I've done it independent, I'm selling and all that stuff. So now if a label comes to me, like what would be the benefit of me going with the label versus just staying totally independent?
Yeah, I mean that's on the individual. I'd say like whatever makes them the best, you know what I'm saying, route with stuff. A lot of times artists might not necessarily really have the production part together, so they might really need that as a resource to say, okay, this is how we could craft it because it was raw and you was from backwoods Virginia kind of stuff, just trying to VA. You already know. I thought about it, I was like, let me pick a place that'll get us a pop. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you from, you know what I'm saying, wherever kind of stuff, you might not have had the resources kind of stuff. So at that moment, that one song that pop, that might be what you need at that point to connect with that, because they would have more engineers, they would have more producers. Or if you made it to that point and you're like, okay, I just really need marketing. You know what I'm saying? Like you can go to them, especially now, Spotify's, Pandora's, other companies, you know what I'm saying? Like through even Caroline, you know, it's a whole lot of different companies out here where by the time you get to that, they could see the potential, and like you said, see the numbers and stuff and say, all right, we can allocate $50K, you know, high end, you know what I'm saying? Like towards really marketing you kind of stuff. But we know it's going to pop and we know it's going to win. So now you can sign with us and whatever the case. Now you've got other opportunities kind of stuff because that's a sync license and that's the knowing, you know what I'm saying, this is where else it could go kind of stuff. So it's about really just knowing like how far they really want to, you know, go at the point that they at, you know what I'm saying, honestly and truthfully. But all that kind of stuff can still be obtained, you know what I'm saying, like through that circle. It just depends on, you know, where the record go and where you be at.
Man, that's dope. So another thing that we talk about a lot on the show is networking. And as somebody who's progressed through a lot of different platforms, a lot of different things, what are some networking tactics that you use to progress throughout your career?
Man, prayer in different environments. We're keeping it real on here. No, it's just knowing where you at. Adaptability. We talked about that earlier. You know, like if I know that this is somewhere where it's gonna be a whole lot of industry, you know what I'm saying, people, then I might either need to be in my industry mode or I might need to just kind of fall back and then just kind of scope what's going on and then kind of integrate myself in so I'm not in an awkward state of, you know what I'm saying, like being in there. Chances are somebody in the room that I know, you know what I'm saying, but that happened from just playing that role when I come in. I can't say persistence because persistence and really humbling yourself because the way that I started with stuff was always going into the room. I talk to the host. I talk to the DJ. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing I do, going in kind of stuff, no matter what. That way, at least who I represent, who I'm working for, whatever the case, and especially myself, I'm letting them know that I'm here kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just, you know, a lot of people have public fear and, you know, public speaking things and all that kind of stuff. You have to get over that in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I tell artists all the time, you're supposed to be an entertainer. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
a fact.
So you got to be able to do that in those moments. Have a good personality. You know what I'm saying? Talk about your business. You know what I'm saying? Well about shit. You got to give, you know, a whole goddamn run through kind of stuff. But we know how it is when you run into cats. Okay, you good? Blah, blah, blah. You already know. Whatever current, cool. All right, keep me updated kind of shit. But doing your research when you go places. That was one thing I would do too, to know who was there. So then I know who this person is to talk to or what kind of actual environment this is. If there's a whole bunch of producers, then I need to be in the mode to talk to producers and know artists that producers might be working with.
Exactly.
If it's songwriters, they probably working with so-and-so who will never come out in 12 months kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I need to know who they are kind of stuff because they writing on multiple things or this record might blow. You know what I'm saying? Like, so this is somebody I need to be knowledgeable with of the time and the patience of stuff and even how it operates with that because they might not want me to know who they writing with kind of stuff. But then at the same time, I got to be respectful towards that and then maybe it is letting them know who I'm working with or, you know what I'm saying, like in that level of that would interest them. If producers want artists, writers want, you know what I'm saying, tracks, you know what I'm saying, like they want placements kind of stuff. So they want to know that you're relatable towards them and, you know, what you're connecting them with.
Now, we talk, like, we get a lot of people who are, they're interested in placements or they're interested in selling beats, right? And you mentioned songwriters needing tracks and then artists needing records. Can you like expound on like how important it is for producers to get with songwriters? Because I feel like it's so, I don't understand why it's not preached more.
Right.
But it's like a big part of this whole system. Yeah,
it is. I mean, the biggest importance of it is the fact that they can be able to start really laying out more of a groundwork of where music is going. I always say it takes more than one person to really make that kind of stuff happen. So if you're a great producer, they probably bounce off of a couple of other great producers or a great songwriter to let them know what kind of key they need to be in. You know what I'm saying? Like, or this is too long and loud. Make it like this and then do this because then I could do this with my voice. That just opens you up instead of making a drum pattern that can go for a rapper. Now you can be open towards a vocalist.
Right.
So now you can sell on me on a placement of R&B singer, a rapper, and maybe a hybrid record, rather than it just being like one way kind of thing. And then that shit hard. Like, no, it's hard, but it's nothing I can do with it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, and the second part, that's gonna make it where if you're not thinking like that, you're just making a beat to basically end off selling kind of stuff, but it opens it up so you can think about those kind of things of like, okay, now you got that's almost 6 different avenues. You can think about the placement avenue and you can think about selling it in three different ways. You know what I'm saying? So
syncs, commercials.
Right. Right. Yeah.
All types of stuff. Man, that's dope. So in saying that you work with a lot of different companies and a lot of different platforms, is there anything out of all the companies that you work with, is there anything that you found to be a common denominator between all of the companies? And like, how can producers use that knowledge to maybe get a start at going to a label or a platform for help?
Catalog. That's the number one thing that just came in my head is like having that catalog prepared. I was just talking to one of my producers when I was coming in here. And I was just telling him he's young, like 22. You know what I'm saying? So he's just really like learning. And I'm telling him the way to get into those rooms is having that catalog prepared. Every company is, no matter what person, you know, VP A&R, you know how it is. Like they want a catalog of beats. You know what I'm saying? So then they can be able to say who, what, when, where to all of those kind of stuff, and then be able to converse with you about the same 5. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, where were you thinking about this? Who was you thinking about this for? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the biggest comment now. So you can be ready because you have to deal with the different avenues of maybe the A&R is in there with the artist kind of, you know what I'm saying, like picking it, you know what I'm saying, or like, oh, this is where we need to map this, man,
Right.
you know what I'm saying, like, or it could just be the artist. Artists could be like, fuck this, it's trash, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, like, but the 7th one you play, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
like going down into the, all right, St. John / Metallica / Lil Uzi Vert track, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
like, you're like, fuck it, at least I'm prepared for wherever this guy wants to
Exactly.
go with stuff. And make it happen kind of shit. So I say that. Definitely
That's big,
catalog.
That is big. And so, in keeping with the theme of catalogs, I'm a new producer. I want to get out there. How big should my catalog be before I'm like, I'm ready?
Endless.
Endless.
Because that's how the game is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, if they doing this and regardless of the passion, the 9 to 5, whatever, it's going to be somebody else who can always outdo you kind of. So you have to think like that. I always think of that, of the nips and tucks of a project or the outlay kind of stuff. There's somebody who probably thought about one more thing that I didn't think about. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I say they have to think like that. You know what I'm saying? They're just saying it's an endless amount, or at least I know you guys know having skeletons, having ideas almost win you more than having like the whole thing blown out.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm gonna play full mix, goddamn 4th version kind of stuff, and then you play the one where you're like, yo man, I just put these hi-hats in here and you know what I'm saying, swoop this violin and like, yo, this shit's dope. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right,
so
and now we could go somewhere.
Right, yeah. So now you being able to explain that what you're doing, how you were thinking it kind of stuff, that's what the artist, or that's what, you know what I'm saying, that's what entices people towards it nonetheless kind of stuff, because then, like you said, they got something to work with.
Exactly.
We're having skeletons, because a lot of times as producers, one of our biggest problems is finishing beats. But you pointed out having skeletons is also a good way to go. So, would you skeletons versus fully completed arranged beats? What would you rather a producer bring you? Some skeletons or just a whole bunch of fully arranged stuff?
I would rather skeletons with ideas over fully arranged and just stoicness.
Right.
Like it's gonna just hit me kind of stuff. Because I want somebody to tell me and paint it. You know what I'm saying? So even if it's missing that gap, I'd want you to tell me. And I'm gonna put, you know what I'm saying, this violin and these drums right here and this triple pattern and stuff. And then I'm gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they let me know what you're thinking about and how you gonna make it come to life. If you already brought life to it, then what we gonna do with the artist or with the engineer or whatever the case, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, and if everybody's in that stoic mode, it's gonna be hard to add a whole lot to it, kind of. So I'd rather definitely have like some skeletons with some dope ass ideas.
That's dope. That's good to know. Leave some room.
One thing I was like learned and just picked up being in the rooms is like the artists want to build with the producer.
Right.
They want to be a part of the
Right.
creation of it. So if it's so full that they can't add them to it, it's kind of like
Right.
Yeah. And you might have gone so far that now there's a whole bunch of stuff in there I don't like.
Right.
As opposed to adding stuff that I would like.
And that happens a lot of times with being in the studio and working with artists. I end up kind of doing a recomposition part kind of shit, because see, I'm the one that hears what everybody picking up kind of stuff, or what it starts going at RCA, or what starts going over here kind of stuff. So it's like, oh, this the sound, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, so once they came here and it's not the sound, now I gotta desperately try to save it, because maybe the producer doesn't know, like that's not the, you know what I'm saying? Like we keeping it open, we keeping it airy right now, you know what I'm saying? Like we not putting a whole lot of kicks all the way through kind of stuff, and goddamn, you know what I'm saying, claps just going all the way through every pattern and stuff. We segment them out, you know, so we're using a little bit more Afro beat, Spanish fusion kind of stuff, so you got to kind of know your techniques and your BPMs kind of stuff, so that's where it's going. So a lot of times I end up having to go back around and helping either like the engineer or helping the artist kind of scope it, because they don't, you know, they can only hear what they can hear out their head.
Exactly.
But to actually go through the process in the studio with the production and the mixing and how important that is, that's one of my key passions at that point, because I know that it can craft into one of those kind of records where people can start making streams, start making income, start going out and taking off the fluff that they probably got from folks before,
Right.
not knowing, you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
Like, nigga, you paying this much and going into this or what you're doing, you need to literally make this record to be able to make you some income and last for
Right.
12 to 14 months kind of stuff. So know where we gonna go with it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So then guess what? That behooves you knowing he got a plan. That behooves because he done got a whole, you know what I'm saying, production together kind of shit.
Right.
And now they confident running out in the streets and shit. You know what I'm saying? They confident going to these open mics. They confident going to these PDs because they've gotten a whole nother sound, probably not only just better than what they had, but some shit that can actually go on like
Right.
playlists and radios nowadays kind of shit.
Right.
Folks that's gonna compete with the constant of what's going
Right.
on. Like what's gonna make you any special than anybody else
Exactly.
if the sound is not all the way there. So
Damn, that's dope. So you touched on some things talking about like the inside information. I guess I'd call it that you would give a producer or an artist. So that leads me to ask what trends, and this is a producer podcast, so I'm kind of speaking more musically than anything.
yeah.
What trends do you see going on in music right now of the things that are winning or things that somebody like you would be looking for? I'm talking BPM wise,
Yeah,
melody wise,
yeah.
any of that.
I want to experiment, man. Like, I think the biggest thing nowadays is like, and we say because we age groups and then been in this,
Yeah.
it's all been done before kind of stuff.
Right.
So now to take kind of like the scope of how music is now and just be experimental with it, I'm more open towards that. Not just in the layout, but it goes towards the vocals and stuff now. You know what I'm saying? Like, and the melodies that they do choose with the production. Because that's what makes all that other stuff when you hear, like, you know, what A Boogie, you know, the Hoodie song is this. But it's because that tempo, that melody, that, you know what I'm saying, that cadence was just like right there. It's like, you know, if you hear like a Migos one, then you hear the next one, it's like, it's right here. You know what I'm saying? Like, just with a little bit of more of a spaz towards maybe the Spanish music that's going on in pop kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, or more of the 808s, this rattling kind of stuff that the hood would hear, but it's kind of hear more. You know, it sounds more radio kind of shit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just kind of like that balance of stuff. For me, I just want them to be able to just take a chance, man, because I hear so much shit. Like, I hear so much that's trying to copy wherever they are regionally kind of stuff. So I can hear Miami folks are still trying to sound like Pump. Or just trying to sound like, Rick Ross. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it'd be like, okay, well, where's the new one other than sound like the City Girls or sounding like, you know what I'm saying? Like something else in that BPM or that pattern and stuff. So I would rather somebody make something that's going to make people dance and move that's in that mid-range at 140, even down at 110, you know what I'm saying? Like kind of stuff. But now it's just about that melody at that point that really, you know what I'm saying, drives that home regardless if they rapping, singing, you know what I'm saying, the hook, you know, because now the hook is, you know, hook always been everything, but.
And how do you feel about like the time frame between records? Because I feel like a lot of times what happens is producers will hear stuff on the radio and then they copy what's on the radio,
right?
But they don't understand that what they just heard on the radio is old.
Yeah, right. That's like 8 months, 10 months, 12 months ago kind of stuff for them to hear.
So if you've been in the inside, like, I feel like it goes back to you saying, like, being experimental.
Yeah.
Like, you hear a lot of people and they send the same type of beats over and over.
Oh, yeah. That time frame is real. You know what I'm saying? That's what I try to tell people, the studying part. Right? That was like one of the first things. I still do that from random nights, you know what I'm saying, on the weekend or whatever, just keeping up with business trends. Even if it's not scouting talent, I'm listening to the music industry. I'm listening to what people are really scoping their beats like and stuff. So it's like, all right, if I've heard this, and this is, you know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, I still heard this, but this is somebody who's, you know, moving up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, then at that point, it's like, all right, that's kind of where the next thing, because that person's going to get signed. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to take in that whole sound and stuff, and then, you know, this label's going to start doing it. Def Jam's going to have somebody who's kind of like this. You know what I'm saying? Atlantic's going to have somebody who's kind of like this. Everybody needs a Post Malone. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, because it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's about knowing, like, okay, we can make open-ended beats that still have 808s and guitars and all that kind of stuff, but then you got to know, all right, where is they gonna go now? Is they gonna go more dance? Is they gonna go?
Right.
That's French Montana and the Cardi B record and all that. I listened to that one. That's literally like ballroom dancing kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like if you had an urban DJ in a straight like ballroom Spanish areas, like that's a hit.
Right.
But when I first heard it, I was like,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Because it didn't hit me like that. But I was like, if I was older and in a nice little outfit and dancing with my senorita and stuff, I was like, oh, this song is fucking lit.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It's got me lit in that kind of area kind of stuff. So it's about knowing, and they probably had this sitting around 5, 6, 7 months kind of stuff, but they're prepared kind of stuff nonetheless. Or if you see records kind of catch on towards the time period. So yeah, it's that studying shit, man. And experimenting. There's so many different things into it. You know what I'm saying? Like even on the computer, just cutting that shit up. You know what I'm saying? It's just about being real with yourself about how I'm placing this and how I can really inspire somebody, like you said. A beat maker is going to do that, but a producer is going to sit there and really be able to start taking the time and figuring out what they're giving to somebody, and then you want to be able to go to that composer where you really are, you know what I'm saying, doing that next level shit. So they got to be able to look at it where they want to get to those next points, and that happens through studying and preparing.
Gotcha.
Man, I'm often intrigued by people like you that are really studiers and really pay attention to music. So I got to ask you, who are you listening to now?
Good combination of stuff. Lucky Day got me overall. Kenny Mason, he local out here. Rapper dude. Yeah, dope shit. Probably like you don't want to say the O word, but it reminds you of the Dungeon Family-esque. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
got you. I say him. Alina Baraz still got me. You know what I'm saying? Sound-wise kind of stuff. I say D&D Section. He's another local cat out here in ATL. He's got a good Afro beat, still hip hop kind of thing going on. So it's good to just hear something eclectic and he's rapping. You know what I'm saying? Like so. Other than that, we said Moneybagg Yo earlier. You know, a little bit. So I go between the indies and the my main people. They keep me up. You know, so I think Money Man did real good for himself this past year because people hit him with the Future thing, but who doesn't sound like Future? You know what I'm saying?
Future got a lot of seeds out.
Yeah, he does. But it was good to hear him in Pee Wee Longway on that project. They had kind of really sounding authentic kind of stuff. Like, okay, I'm in Atlanta. I'm enjoying this kind of thing. So
I figured we were going to get an eclectic list of people from you.
Yeah.
Do you have, and if not, why don't you have a playlist on Spotify?
I do. It's called Gas on Wednesday.
Gas on Wednesdays playlist.
Check it out.
Yes, sir. I got a new one come next week. So.
How often do you come out with them?
Probably about 2 Wednesdays. I was trying to do every Wednesday, but you're busy.
Right.
Yeah, so probably about 2 Wednesdays out of the month kind of stuff. And I just curate from some of the indies I found and, whatever else is rising and streaming up kind of stuff. So I'm on algorithm. I just figured out this morning too, so I'm excited about this shit. Yeah, I'm in with it like that. So I was like, okay, cool. So
you gotta applaud somebody figuring out the rhythms.
You gotta
get the rhythms.
Yeah, get the rhythms together.
So I got a question. Beats Music says, what are the most difficult and most satisfying parts of being an A&R in your experience?
The difficulty is the expectation of communication. Like, I think, people all the time, you want to be able to put your best foot forward and stuff, and then you got to be able to take it when other people don't. And that's a skill you have to really learn through that because you doing it for the business sake and you doing it for the betterment of the relationship kind of stuff. A lot of times people get mad about shit and then they don't think about come later kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like it's cool to voice your opinion and shit, but you can do it respectfully. You can do it where we're not wasting no more time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we can do this where we can move forward. Kind of thing. So I think the most difficult thing was understanding the different levels of an executive communicates like this, an artist communicates like this, a producer communicates like this, a songwriter communicates like this. A business owner, communicates like this, a record label, a head, second to a record label acts like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just so I could kind of be prepared of those different avenues of communication and still do my job kind of stuff. Because if this person doesn't communicate or they're lackluster about their job, I still got to answer to get the, you know what I'm saying? Like, get the leeway kind of stuff. So, but I can't go back and say, well, this person didn't answer their phone and they didn't do this and they didn't do that. Okay, so why didn't you come up with a different solution or handle it different than being mad at this moment and not having the solution that we need kind of stuff, you know?
I think that that's key, knowing how to overcome those obstacles and different communication styles. On a scale of, I'll say, artist to label head, who has the best and who has the worst communication? That's your question.
Right.
That's your question.
Right. That's a good one. It's on a case by case basis, but I would say it's probably flipped around from the artist maybe like a 2, and then a scale up to the exec being like a 7. But of course they can jump either way, kind of stuff, you know. But it's all people aside. I definitely say like it's just about the person and the experience kind of stuff. Because one thing I learned is how someone was trained at a label or how they A&R and stuff might not be the best case for this scenario or this artist kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, it might not be that at this moment with this producer kind of stuff because this is how they outlay. You might have the relationship with the artist just because they came in and was like, this is Exactly. Like, this is how y'all work. This is how y'all already flow kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that already makes that like, your communication might suck. You might think you're doing your job, but your communication sucks because not everybody's flowing the way that this needs to operate the best way.
Gotcha.
And then for the artist, I mean, that's just the experience of how they've probably communicated with, you know, whoever it is, producers, songwriters, managers, you know what I'm saying? People like that of like, oh, well, what do you want? Or, you know, oh, you wasted my time, man. You didn't do this or this, that, and the other. But it's how you go about it because you probably could have just communicated and just move forward and whatever. And it's all about relationships kind of stuff. They can respect you a whole lot more if you just say what it is and then we just move forward kind of stuff. Then, all that other rah kind of shit. Now you done burnt the bridge.
Right. Good move. Hold on, we got something else in the.
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of questions. Let's see.
Right. Okay.
What do you see as the top 2 or 3 most valuable traits for a producer and songwriters to have to stay successful in this industry?
The studying part. You know, that's just the number one because the victimization is y'all really, you know what I'm saying, of producers and the songwriters and the people who create that part because the artist is just going to mold towards that.
Right.
They can come with it, but they still have to have you to be able to get the vision out kind of stuff. Yeah. So during that time period, that's one of the things that just kind of, you know, it's got to be able to mold. What was the second part of the question? I'm sorry.
What do you see as the top 2 or 3 most valuable traits for a producer?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's a good one.
Number 2 is, and I was going to say this for artists, ability to listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're in a position to really take in exactly what maybe, you know, your team or whoever it is that's putting it in there. That's the number one thing I see that cuts people down a lot is just not the ability to, like, listen. You know, because you're taking in from the artist, you're taking in from the creativity in that moment. You got to be able to, you know what I'm saying, Sue Fit, they control the ship. Most, you know, producers, you can use an engineer or whatever the case, you know what I'm saying, through sessions. So they're the ones really controlling the vibe of, you know, how this can come out. So once they get to that creative point, you got to be able to listen to it and then just execute it because then your job is easy. They love you to death.
Exactly.
You Metro Boomin. You know what I'm saying? You all in the videos and Jimmy Kimmel, you know? So
that's a fact. In keeping with that theme, how important do you think it is for a beat maker to try to become more of a producer? Or are some people just cool just being a beat maker?
That's up to them, you know? Like, I would want them to want to be the best they could be and be, you know, what they dream of really being because I believe every beat maker really want to be a producer, really want to be a composer, want to be a Timbaland, want to be a, you know, a Pharrell, want to be a Chad, you know, like I would think they want to be in that kind of thing where they put out a whole album and they've touched every part and arranged and you know what I'm saying, like so I would hope that they really would, you know what I'm saying, because it breaks down to so many different things. You can find an instrument that you just love and it's laced with piano and stuff, and that was the gift that you ended up really putting in there, plus the production kind of thing, you know.
Makes sense.
What else we got in there?
Let's see. In today's current hip hop climate, is it more difficult to get major placements if you aren't a trap based producer?
Yeah. It depends if that's just the focus though.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like I believe it's enough focus to go around and be like, okay, if you want to go towards more of a urban AC, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just researching the artist and researching the label. You know what I'm saying? Like and just seeing when that time period is coming around and just keeping up with, you know what I'm saying? Like Twitter's God. So like you can always find somebody like A&R, you know what I'm saying, PR, somebody to start turning you around towards who takes in stuff, and it could be a different artist. They're probably more open towards that, you know what I'm saying, than anything else, but taking it to that major part, you know what I'm saying, it'd probably be a little bit harder if you're trying to go at it, but you'd have to already know and be in that fold. Exactly. So I'd say like have that kind of base where you're already making, you know, not just trap, but stuff that can go more major kind of stuff. So then when you get to that point, they already know your repertoire. They know for you to go in and play something for Lil Nas X that's gonna still be country and still be, you know what I'm saying, like banging kind of stuff. Like,
now, do you would you suggest for producers to like develop an artist and like do projects with them?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Definitely, because I mean that's just getting that stamp down. You know what I'm saying? That's helping curate that sound both ways kind of stuff. Yeah. And either way, that's nothing but a benefit because as much as they're growing, they're going to go out and meet other artists. And they're going to go meet, you know what I'm saying, other people that want to collab with them. And now you made such a, you know, we've seen it so many times. So yeah, that's number one. I'd always say that.
Dope. Okay.
Man, that's really dope. So it sounds like you're saying it would be more of a benefit to develop your own sound. So say I'm a producer and I develop my own sound and I have a artist. Should I be fearful that I've done all this to be different and develop a sound and it's not the current sound that's popping? Should I be fearful coming to an A&R or coming to a label?
Because that time period, like I knew I was gonna hit y'all with that time period. You know what I'm saying? Like when you really go through that development phase, it shouldn't really be a worry because you go in and I mean the artist should be open enough to really make some changes and you know what I'm saying, like keep it up skeletons like we talked about earlier. If you already at that and you've got that artist condition, because a lot of times, oh man, I knocked it out of the park and it's ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, let's just go back. You know what I'm saying? Like, and now I'm going to add this. Now I want you to go back in there and redo this hook. So now I've got the bravado I need from your voice with what I added to it. Now it sounds like a whole different record kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like now you caught up to 2020, 2021, whatever the case is, just because everybody was open and still flowing. Yeah.
I think the back and forth way of working is just it's overlooked. It's honestly the best way to work that I've seen, especially even from bigger producers and super producers. Like that's how they work. You know, you got a skeleton, somebody lay something over it, then the producer go back, and then the artist go back. I think that should be talked about more because I think producers now are just like, I made this dope ass beat. Here's somebody put something on it. And that's it.
Right. Like, and we're not even talking about post production. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's something that's like, if you got the right team of engineers, producers already thinking, like you said, you leaving that shit open. You know what I'm saying? So now you can say, oh man, we need somebody to come in and play that cello right there on that. You know what I'm saying? Because it was open. Your mind was like open towards it. If it's already all laid out and you think that shit is good, like you'll never see it for, oh man, I love that pattern of how you know what I'm saying, went out on that last bar so we could loop that shit and it could be a whole nother 8. You know what I'm saying? Like now we got a dramatic outro. Like we never thought about that shit. Just because we were all open and going back and forth kind of thing.
That's dope. Producers, remember, it starts with you making a beat a lot of times, but that is really just the beginning. Yeah. Because the goal is to make a dope song and hopefully a dope project, honestly. Yeah.
See, Fictionalized says, what makes a song catch on traditional radio's attention?
I mean, it's just that hook, man. It's just that hook and going within the sonics that's already on the radio. You know, like, I mean, a lot of times they're not going to just break the mold too much until it's, you know, somebody already, or Kendrick, and, you know what I'm saying? Like somebody who's already broke it kind of thing. So it just makes it difficult to, you want to adjust with the times. You don't want to do the same thing. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's even knowing that you could make something advantageous. It's like more dance kind of thing, but you still got the urban. Do that every day. You know what I'm saying? Like, so yeah, I just say it's definitely that tone. You know what I'm saying? Like, because they want to match up, especially from PDs and how people are programmed to listen to their radios and all that, especially with the algorithms now too. Sirius and Pandora and Spotify and all that. It's right there. You know how your stuff just keep playing. It's like, oh, you gave me some more trap. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, hey, why would we change?
Right. That is a fact. I had a question. I actually had a specific question, but I'm gonna broaden the question a little bit.
Okay.
I'm a new producer. I want to get in touch with DJ Demand. What is my process? Like, how should I approach you? What should I say? What should I ask? And what should I send you?
Hello. It's nice. Just a standard hello. Yeah, just a standard hello. How you doing? But no, just come in with the real information kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, send me an email. Just let me know where, what you're doing, what you put out kind of stuff. And literally just being, sending an attachment, what I'm saying, that's worthwhile, that is mixed, that is mastered. I would more so prefer that, what I'm saying, than anything else, because I know you put in the time and the effort at that point. With so many things nowadays, Lander, the other one that's online, if you don't have the finances or the resources kind of stuff, you can always find some way to make it presentable to that point. You know what I'm saying? Because it changes the conversation where I have to go, But, just to be standard of the outlet, what they're really doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then just the standard, being able to just attach something that is going to be a quality to let me know, you put in the time to send me something. I'd say this. You're right. I'm just thinking about the question even more. I don't want them to necessarily ask me if they can get signed to somebody or anything like that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because you build a relationship with somebody, but I don't mind somebody inquiring or asking about, what Andre's looking for or something like that. That's fine. You know what I'm saying? But once it just starts kind of looping into, sign me, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm the hottest new act out.
And a little bit of information is good too. I do have some people that give me the overload because, they're trying to sell me on something. So don't try to sell me on it. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, prior experiences, all that kind of stuff is good, but at the same time, I don't need it to bolster me. Like, oh my God, you're an AC3? Really? Fuck.
That was real.
3 years in a row? Like,
that's hilarious. That was actually a broadened version of my original question. My original question was going to be, I'm a new producer. I want to send you some beats or some songs. How many do I send? What's too little? What's too much?
3 to 5. Named out in direction of where they want them to go. In the email of not just place, but the kind of person and the kind of feel they were going. And genre. That goes a long way for me.
That's a gem right there.
Do you want BPM and keys?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some people are big on BPM.
Yeah, I can figure it because of the DJ part, so it doesn't. It doesn't bother me now. And I'll be like, oh, okay, cool. That's a dope 140. That's a dope 88.
Makes sense. Right. I think that's dope. The fact that you have the DJ background, so things like that, you're like, nah, I kind of got that.
Right, exactly.
So speaking of being a DJ, how has being a DJ and being an A&R helped each other in your careers, other than you being able to figure out tempos?
I mean, that was the goal. That was it. Right?
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, it helped me in the completion of really both parts, kind of. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like we've seen, of course, a lot of DJs move up to be A&Rs, or of course, really well-known producers and people who compose things and this, that, and the other. So I think the DJing part definitely helped me with understanding where artists want to go with their records, how they want them to be played, and even just really have a support kind of thing. Because from the A&R part, that's a whole nother clerical, you know what I'm saying? Okay, we've already talked about this kind of stuff, but a DJ, I can impact your life every day. You know what I'm saying? On the physical, outside kind of nature kind of thing. So they let me know really how important that is as the A&R. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of them, and I've talked to them. Everybody I work with, I talk to almost every day. You know what I'm saying? Literally when we're on kind of stuff, it's everyday kind of stuff. I'm not sending you a text or sending some media or calling you at 2:00 just to even check on you. You know what I'm saying? that's what I know I progressed to kind of stuff. I guess for the other end, it helped me really appreciate the time from the A&R to the DJ. It helped me really appreciate seeing how much time they really do put into stuff. So it's like, honestly, that's the part that really does kind of hit me because I know how much it really does take. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Now, so when they just have the one record, that's not enough. Because now the responsibility, I gotta push them further. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta talk to them further, kind of stuff. It just can't be great. It was played on radio here, and the so and so DJ is gonna play it. You know what I'm saying, for the next 2 weeks, kind of stuff. Have you been talking to them? I gotta ask these questions now.
Exactly.
Are you building a relationship with them? Is your manager talking to them? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I want them to hold a relationship because I know how it is. If they're not either paying the DJ, have a relationship with the DJ, or really out there pushing for a relationship with them, they're not gonna hold it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if they haven't made an impression with their music kind of stuff, them going to meet so and so over at so and so, it's not gonna go well. I'm sorry, I already know it's not. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the fact that it didn't go well. You know what I'm saying? I know it's not gonna go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I know what they're looking for now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's made it where I feel more responsible of just hearing the music and knowing where they could go with it. But then at the same time, it's just like, hey.
Dope. That's dope. Oh, yeah. YouTube, we offer you. Instagram. YouTube, we're still here.
Hey.
Yeah, Instagram, we got to go back in. They only give us an hour.
Oh. Okay.
And then we got to go back in. But, yeah, all right, boom.
We back. Boy, we killing this. It's been an hour. What you mean?
I told you the time was going to go fast, bro. Yeah, this time goes really fast.
No, man.
Yeah, 2 hours flies by.
Yes, sir. Jameson, man.
Yes, sir. Oh, for sure.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure. By the way, in case you're watching the replay, you're looking or watching the second half of our unquantized interview with Demand, A&R, DJ.
Yes, sir.
Just a little bit of everything.
Yes, sir.
So, I had
thank y'all for having me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I'm saying?
You got any plugs, man? You promote anything?
I'm not a big plugger, but I will plug. Got my brand Demand Nation that's launching off. Been shooting some content, video content, live content. So just dropping one artist I was working with in Nashville, Rome Logan. Make sure you follow him at Rome Logan Music. And he's getting ready to drop 2 singles on 104 in Nashville. So just kind of look out for that. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, man, just kind of building that out right now. There's a lot more content. The creative director part is coming into play now. You know what I'm saying? So now, not just having that stream of like the music and the marketing kind of stuff. I want to create those other creative things that happen in the meantime kind of stuff. So then at least they can start to try to get the investor to look at them or get the company to, you know what I'm saying? Like look at them kind of stuff, because if they don't have the resources or created something in the meantime, I can't do my job.
What about you?
Plugs wise, man, check out soundoracle.net. Sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already. A lot of good things are going to be dropping. I'll be doing a panel at South by Southwest in March with Ableton, talking about sound design and various other things. I will also be speaking at Berklee College of Music in Boston in April. I'll keep you all up on the dates if anybody's in Boston. Come check out that panel, and I'll also be working with some kids from Boston doing a little workshop. So it should be kind of dope. My brother, you put out something new today.
New sample pack today, man, called Power Level. Bunch of Asian-inspired melody loops. You get the deluxe. Comes with the stems, the MIDI, the whole shebang, Fire. So go check that out. The demos at the producer kit. And then I've been doing my, like you said, content. I'm on probably YouTube video number 5.
Hey!
All right. I just dropped a video, and I talk about, one, I vlogged me DJing at an event. Remember I was live streaming?
Yeah.
I vlogged that event, and then I talk about how DJing helped me being a producer. So, yeah, I just put that up. It's on my YouTube. Check that out.
Just stepping up the content.
Trying, man. I said I was going to do it this year. So.
Yeah, man. We were working too hard now to do it. And, that led me into the transition part. That's why it was so important for me now of building that and showing more of that, because it was kind of like once you get to that point of DJing. You know, like what we talked about, you start trying to go into a more stable sector, whether that's production or A&R or something like that, just for the simple fact of how much stuff has changed.
Exactly.
So now once you go through that, now you're like, damn, well, I've been doing this. Let me just show, these different parts.
Exactly.
Like,
That's speaking of which, I know you did remixes and you do remixes and all that, but did you ever have a span of time where you're like, I am a producer? Have you ever like been a producer? And if so, what did you use when you were?
I did not. I'm always pure to the people who do stuff. Since I never sat up there and just hit myself and was like, yo, man, I'm about to go over here and get this, thing and bang it out. Like, but just definitely having the stems, like having acapellas and, instrumentals, all that kind of stuff. Like definitely could, modulate that and get all that together. But no, just through, I would use Adobe Audition. Okay. That was one of my biggest ones, just because I wasn't about to go out and start doing the rest of them, But that was one of my key ones, to keep me in the mix. Okay. Of course, Seratos and but that was already just playing stuff out. But really crafting it up and being able to do that, I was that's what helped me once I got in the studio and could see Pro Tools. So I was like, oh, okay, I get it. What I'm saying? Like, so that helps with the composition and knowing, like, seeing records and stuff. So it kind of really helped me, at least through that, to not say that, but I know I can go into the studio and be able to do those portions and work with people, so then we can do the whole thing together.
It seems like you'd be good at speaking the producer's language in the studio. And it's good to have a liaison, I feel, between like the artist and the producer and the engineer. So I guess it's DJing and remixing and all that stuff. That makes you like the perfect like go-to centerpiece for
that happens in the studio. Trust me. Like when me and a couple of our producers, we have our own language, and people will just be like, "What are you saying?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, cut that fourth." Like drop that right there. We'll take out that snare. Just pull that back and then put that in there, and then we can put that filter over her voice. And they're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" I'm like, "Cause we're just gonna flip it and put this sign on this reverb, and then you'll understand what I'm talking about," kind of stuff. But the same thing if you just did like a spin and just did a reverse when I'm talking. And that they're like, what the hell? I'm like, man, I'm just speaking to him the way it need to be spoke to. Like,
that's dope. I need you in my next session for sure.
It's like that on Key and Peele, that translator.
Oh yeah, that Obama translator. Yeah. What he's saying?
The engineer translator.
Right.
We're gonna flip it and make it dope.
Right. Basically.
So you've been maneuvering a lot through the industry and big ups on all your success. So, 2-part question as I usually ask. The first part is, what are the next steps you see in your personal growth? And the last step is, when it's all said and done and it's all over, what would you have accomplished?
Well, I want to see myself work with more companies that implement these ideas, like we're saying, for artists. I think artist development now go a lot more further than just the records, So I think really taking that from just the music and the packaging and making it appropriate and using the things and the resources we have around us. Atlanta's huge. Atlanta's growing. Things like Ponce City Market, Krog Market, like all these different cultural things that really represent the newer person that's going on. And I think a lot more cities are taking advantage, of those kind of things when they are growing, they are, brooding into new stuff. So I definitely want to be one of those kind of people that's implementing a lot more of the new project strategies, getting out artists, whether that's even on streaming, but for it to be live, a lot of us, we in the streets kind of stuff. So of course we want to be able to see, those kind of talents really broaden out there and have fan bases that are based here. Not, what we always know, they got to be here and then they got to go out. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'd like to see it come back to where people could literally operate, curate, and grow in Atlanta instead of going out to LA, going out to New York, even if it's premature, be able to really make that thing happen out here. But when it's said and done, I mean, I just want to be able to make more people work together and just be knowledgeable in the stuff they really want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always wanted to really kind of executive produce like a movie soundtrack kind of thing. So I feel like that's like really in my list of stuff of like getting to that upper echelon. So all these little things that like come together over that time period, that could be something, you know what I'm saying, like dope kind of thing. Like not necessarily Bad Boys. Shout out, I haven't seen the third one yet. Y'all seen the third?
I haven't seen it.
I did see it.
Is it good?
It's good, but you you're gonna feel like you saw it already. You're gonna be like, that was a good time at the movies, not necessarily that was a great movie.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, just, I remember those urban templates we had, like, kind of coming up of, like, New Jack Cities. And, you know what I'm saying? I would
That was
love to
great
make
times.
that kind of impact of, like, those soundtracks,
Right.
putting new artists in there and stuff, so then they really do have that pop. Not just get on Fast and Furious, you know what I'm saying? 11 soundtrack, you know what I'm saying? Like, but something that's going to be able to really curate the culture in a way of like Mo Better Blues kind of stuff, or how it was all jazz themed, and then you had these artists and all that kind of stuff. So I would love to really be a part of that stream, you know what I'm saying? Like, in the long run, kind of hit records, all that. I just want people to feel good. I don't care about that's all that.
I feel like soundtracks is definitely coming back too.
Yeah.
I missed it, bro.
Yeah.
Man.
I feel like it was like a little break where it's like nobody was putting soundtracks out.
Right.
Now I feel like it's like
It's kinda
coming
It's
back
kind of
again.
coming back,
Mhm.
yeah.
I think Black Panther had a lot to do with that too. That was like one of the bigger current
Yeah.
soundtracks. But yeah, it used to be
Soundtracks
soundtracks.
mandatory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it used to be, right. Or they'd have a real single on that soundtrack, and you'd be like, "Are they coming out? What's on the?" Oh no, it's on the. It's on this
It'd be
soundtrack.
slap. It'd be
Right. Yeah, it'd be a
slapper.
slapper. Yeah, it'd be a banger. Yeah.
All right, I got a question for you. Top 3 soundtracks from like the 90s to now.
Top 3 soundtracks. I gotta give it to the Bad Boys 2 one, no matter what. That's not. I'm not gonna put it in the top. Like that's 3, I guess. I guess I probably would have to say The Longevity of New Jack City, just because I've seen that and went back, and it was just like, and then I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good one that was. You got one?
I do. I have one. It wasn't a sleeper back then, but when I say it, people are like, yeah. Waiting to Exhale. That soundtrack.
Oh yeah,
whether that was your cup of tea or not.
Right.
Man, that soundtrack had legs.
That one
years.
had Brandy on there, right?
Yeah.
It had
Tony Braxton was on that joint.
Yeah.
It had a lot of people on there. But I miss the soundtrack culture. That's a lofty goal. That's something good to have, like executive producer dope soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's awesome.
Waiting to Exhale, Above the Rim.
Okay.
Set It Off.
Set It Off.
I can't remember.
Wait, I don't remember who was on
that
Set
was
It
just
Off.
the In Vogue song to set it off. When we gonna be?
That's the only thing I remember.
Right. What you gonna be?
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was that one.
That was huge. That
was huge for that. But I see what you're saying. If it was a scope of a certain number of songs on there.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I know where Next Hell went.
Man, I remember when Bobby Brown just had a mug on Ghostbusters. Hell, that made me feel Ghostbusters a whole lot more.
Yeah. That was on Ghostbusters.
I guess.
Yeah.
Hey,
man. They called the Ghostbusters and they in control.
Right.
What can I say? What can I say, bro?
Too hot to handle, too cold to
You
hold.
know, rap. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
Steps in this joint.
Right. But yeah, and that's possible too with a lot of those series and stuff being created, and you know what I'm saying? Like, so I feel like between that and what we say in the next couple of years, so many other platforms, you know what I'm saying, whether it's original content through HBO, Netflix, you know what I'm saying, like all those different categories, I feel like it's so open because they're definitely streaming towards our people, you know what I'm saying, and our music kind of stuff. Issa Rae done open that up with Insecure kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying, like, so it's so many different avenues now where you see them artists really get plateaued, you know what I'm saying, out of that, and even though it's sync, it's really like a cultural kind of, you know what I'm saying, sync because they saw him in the show. That might be the only thing you ever seen him, you know what I'm saying, with, so it kind of matters. So I think it's a lot of opportunity in that.
We get a lot of questions about sync and sync licenses, so I just want to get your take on this. If I'm a new and up and coming producer and I want to get into sync, how do I go about it? Like, what should my first steps be?
The first thing I always tell them is they have to start thinking about how to create outside of what they normally create. You know, they have to think about shows look for moods. You know, they look for scenes. You know what I'm saying? They look for the whole grand scheme of maybe what it is. Or it doesn't have necessarily be a show. It can be, radio commercial, video game. Y'all know. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So I think they have to really think in that kind of box. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like for that moment. So they're not necessarily just doing something. I know this is going to be hard to be on NBA 2K. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's got to be something that it might be lollygag music kind of stuff through the screen. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's consistent. It's up to a certain quality. and doing that research, seeing exactly, some of them might tell you exactly what they're looking for. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just about being prepared in that moment to say, okay, hell, I'm going to make these 10 tours, you know what I'm saying? Or this 20 collection over this and really try to, you know what I'm saying, encapsulate like a mood. I told somebody one of the best tracks I ever heard that was like, fuck. Like, it really gave me the mood. Was, you guys remember on The Equalizer, that scene that he had when he was getting ready to kill those guys in the warehouse?
When it was like stormy and wait, the first Equalizer. The first one.
Yeah, it was dark and he was walking around and it was just like he was in that grocery store or whatever. And the way that music like set up that scene is just like, it's so creepy because it never builds up. You know what I'm saying? Like through him going around the corner and killing this guy. Then it never builds up killing that guy. You know how Denzel was in that shit. Then he finally gets this one. It's like, bow, wow. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh yeah, cry for me. Let me know. You know what I'm saying? So it's just getting those moments from that because I never even realized that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like watching it. But I was like, I'll be like that now. And I'll be like, yo, this music is really making me feel this scene right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it could be something as little as that. And I think I looked up the group. They're, you know, like literally like a rock band. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that they stage it, because it literally is almost like 13 minutes without really any kind of music. You know what I'm saying? It's just the synths and just setting up through this long draw kind of stuff. That's something you have to study and be prepared for to say like, all right, I'm going to basically make this, you know, for 9 minutes and just build this kind of crescendo up of like, boom, and it's got to feel it, you know?
That's when you got that footage. When they give they give you that footage. Yeah. That's some of the best sync stuff I ever did. I did something for National Geographic one time. They sent me like the footage to make the music to. Yeah. That was amazing. It was a scene of I think it was a cheetah like chasing and killing a zebra. That's some of the best music I ever made. That was fun. Just watching the footage and like making music to. I was like, oh.
You was right there in it. Like,
it's a dream job. And then I didn't do anything else with them. So
that's how I make beats. It's like I put something on, like if I'm trying to make like energy stuff, I know it sounds crazy. I go on YouTube, I type in like Jamaican club, and it'd be like inside the club, and then I put it on mute, and then make beats.
That's bad.
Because I want to see that energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I'd be the same way when I used to mix. I turn on like MTV or some shit and just put on mute, you know, just to get the energy of like what's going on around, you know, seeing something.
Yeah, that's always a mode. I was working with Bam. Bam is like the king of that because he takes it to a whole new level. He set a whole mood. He put a movie on it. It'd be like from a different genre and time, and then
he like Seven Allure. It's like a step in the head.
Yeah. Oh, you put a cowboy hat on? You getting into it.
I used to love watching Making the Band, and they had, what his name was, Channel 7 then?
Yeah.
And he would be like having the smoke machines, lighting candles, sitting Indian style on the floor. Like, what is wrong with dude?
Right. Hey man, the vibe is everything.
Yeah,
bro.
that's real.
The vibe is everything.
Every studio gotta have the laser lights.
Oh, that's
mandatory. With the same little remote.
Right.
Oh yeah, it's mandatory.
Yeah. Oh, I know we got something in the chat over there.
What we got?
Let's see. What about having demo songs like a rough draft with vocals on the hook? Is that good to have them on deck or just a beat?
Depending on how rough vocals are.
Good.
That's the real, you know what I'm saying? Like, you wanted to rep good, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've, of course, seen people with the option, you know what I'm saying? Like, the option's always good, but I say if that vocal ain't clean, then I just send a beat with an idea kind of thing. Just because I wouldn't want to send somebody something that wasn't, you know what I'm saying, sound on par. So I don't know what somebody not sounding good is like, but I would say, you know, like, don't send it to them if you just don't know that it's all the way, you know what I'm saying, together.
And I don't want people to, when we say send skeletons, to get them confused with sending super rough. You still want it to sound good.
Right, yeah. Like a skeleton to me, I guess, and then you guys can for me, would probably be from somebody who's already like knowing and set up producer. Is really like a halfway to like 60% kind of thing. Yeah. The tempo, the instrument selection, you know what I'm saying, like, and the normal like pattern is there kind of stuff. Yeah. So then anything else that can kind of go in those threes and to be able to really, you know what I'm saying, like set up for like bridges and all that kind of stuff, that can be explained and kind of seen kind of stuff. You can always set it up and already put the, you know, the six or the, you know what I'm saying, whatever, however you're going to break it up in there. But as long as it's at least structured for me to understand it, I'm okay with it. But I would look at probably like a 60% of like, oh, okay, this is where I'm going with it, so I can at least hear it and feel it kind of thing.
Yeah, that's dope. Yeah. So yeah, just enough to where you get it.
Yeah.
You know what the beat is.
Mm-hmm.
You don't.
And then you can throw it in there quick. You know what I'm saying? Like, then you can say, okay, cool, and then it can be. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why I would rather see it. Then that leaves at least the open discussion with the artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, to give you the ideas, and then you still got something to work with.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's enough to either take out and like, all right, we at 40, and then I can put this other 60 in here, or I can just go ahead and throw in this little 40 from their opinion, and we good to go.
Nice.
And I had a question. Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but say, for example, someone wanted to become an A&R.
Yeah.
That's something that I rarely hear any information about. What advice would you give somebody if they wanted to get more on the business side of music?
Run. No, seriously. I mean, it's a conversation with themselves, because I'm gonna tell you one thing, and then we had talked about it earlier. They've got to want to do it. They got to want to do that. They can't be an A&R / you know what I'm saying? Like, right. And they can, but you're experienced kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, people do that, but you can't be inexperienced and then want to go towards something where you're going to be the controller of everything that's going on, kind of stuff. You're the person that's responsible for everything.
Right.
So you need experience with that kind of stuff, because you'd be a great A&R because you can go in there with the producers. You already know the sound and stuff. You know it's important for songwriters and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know that you can tell an artist he needs to go out there and network and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just really knowing that, you know what I'm saying? Like, and just being committed to want to do that. Now, I guess the technical process is to, of course, you know, do your research. It's a lot of different, not only just record labels, publishing houses, you know what I'm saying, A&Rs that do work out here, you know what I'm saying, that work with bases in LA and New York kind of stuff. So it's a different echelon of people that you can be able to work with to either get, you know, that hands-on experience or just sitting around, but just know, like, if it's in these different areas, the office people are already going to want you to have some experience kind of stuff, even as an intern kind of stuff. Plus, that's for a younger demo. If it is, like, from a studio or something, you're going to physically be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then if it's somebody who's remote, they're going to work as much as remotely. You know what I'm saying? And stuff comes across. So that's an ebb and a flow of being busy or not busy or not on their radar, because, hell, they got to deal with out-of-town stuff. Plus, the transient thing, you already know how labels and groups are when they hear, or if they got to go back and forth. If they, you know what I'm saying, you last on totem pole kind of stuff. Exactly. So, yeah, I just say just applying themselves, you know what I'm saying, like, and just see exactly where, you know, if they got the time and what they want to do with it. I learned, like, it's two different kind of A&Rs. You can pick beats, or you can really be a lifestyle A&R and really care about the process that go into the artist, and then know it's still going to be producers that are signed to the label. You know what I'm saying? It's still going to be producers that are important for you to do projects with. You know what I'm saying? Like, because those are your people who you want to work on stuff. So you have to be able to have relationships with all of them, and then still cater to, you know what I'm saying, what they got going on. Some might need more branding. Some might need to show their face more. You know what I'm saying? Still kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's about knowing if they, it's not just an artist and knowing they hot kind of shit. Ain't saying nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so knowing the knowledge to sit there and say, oh, we're going to do this project like that and this, that, and the other. That's something that I would suggest they learn and be able to see from somebody if they haven't had the experience.
Right. Get a day in the life of what it's really like.
Yeah.
Right. Because I feel like A&R is such a sexy word that people don't really know what it entails.
Right. Right. It's like being some kind of like nerve doctor or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it sounds good, but you probably really wouldn't know if they told you what it was. Like, okay, well, what do you do? Because I deal with that when it's, you know, and people always, you know, we're in this bubble of our world, but when you get out of it, you have to explain to them, you know what I'm saying? Like, what do you do? Because I can tell that to my girl's mom, or, you know what I'm saying? Somebody be like, I'm an A&R. What is an A&R? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I got to break down I'll just chop down one of those little, you know what I'm saying, branches on the tree and say, project managers for music artists. You know what I'm saying? Like, I help people, I put on, you know what I'm saying? Like, whatever the case. So it's just one of those really being prepared of where they want to go with it.
That's dope. You use the term lifestyle A&R. I've never heard that term before. I get exactly what you mean when you say it, though. Is that just a term that you coined, or is that like an actual thing?
No, that was passed off to me. You know what I'm saying? It was my time with Radar and Ray Daniels and Dre. They would say like literally like the same things. It was just like that was, he said to him, and he said to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, of just those moments of when you are in that, you know, it's like you got two choices because it has rough days. You know what I'm saying? It has points where they want to act like a dickhead or they're not performing it the way they need to, kind of stuff. So you have to decide if you're just gonna worry about that, then you say fuck it and you don't work on the project. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Or you could be about the lifestyle of the artist, of the producer, of what they're going through, to know that they'll probably record shitty this week. So guess what? We'll record next week. Or let me have a conversation with him to say, look, this is the time we need to get in here. I know you're going through a rough week, but we got to get it, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like having a real conversation with them, so at least they know you there for them, and we can still get something done out of this. It's not just you do what I tell you to do, or you do what the fuck you want to do.
Right.
We working together, you know what I'm saying? Like to really make this happen. And I'm always like, I always ask people how your day is, you know what I'm saying? What's going on with you, all that kind of stuff, because it's important for me, nonetheless. Because I mean, I don't want them to just, you know, not give a damn or feel like somebody just calling them about, you know what I'm saying, whatever kind of shit. So
that's dope. So if I'm a producer or an artist and I'm courting A&Rs, or I'm just coming across a bunch of A&Rs, should I expect to see more lifestyle A&Rs or more just the pick the beat A&Rs? Like, what is there more of? I was hoping you wouldn't
say like, hey man, shit. I mean, that's just. I'm gonna tell you now is it's changing a lot more. What we talked about with the developmental part being independent kind of thing. So you can run across the people that are like that. They're probably more experienced. You know, they probably already had some kind of track record of stuff. So then they're able to necessarily move along the way that the artists need kind of stuff. But you do get those other people that but they can pick beats, but now those are the creative companies. Those are the other, you know what I'm saying, like facets that they'll work with that'll kind of really package the artists together now. And that's more of the team aspect. You'd have that, you know what I'm saying? Like, but those are the other people that are around. So you have to decide, like, do you want them being in all the control? Because that's where the music is going now. Do you still want to be the person that's involved with the music, the whole team, and making the, you know what I'm saying, making it happen kind of stuff?
So, with you doing all this stuff, you're describing a lot. You seem like a really busy guy. So, what does a typical day look like for you from wake up to go to sleep?
Well, I went to sleep at 6. We'll start it backwards.
Well,
and I wake up at like 9:30. It's probably something around there. If I have meetings or like a phone call or something like that, Skype kind of stuff, they usually start from like 9 to 10. And that's from anything from my boss, like with, you know, the think tank and UMG kind of stuff. And that'll run from maybe about 9 to 12. It's usually open kind of stuff. Work out at like 2 studios here in Atlanta. I just call it studio. I forget the name of it. Because you know how it is. It's like, what's the technical name of it kind of stuff. But yeah, it's off of Shallowford. I'm sorry. Atlanta Creative Studio. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So, yeah, over there, ABS, and you ever been ABS?
I'm wondering, is the Atlanta Creative Studio the studio I used to go to?
It's big ass, like, little, like, building on the side of it.
It's black, but kind of by a car dealership?
It's off of, like, the side of Shallowford Road and 85, and it's, like, right there off, like, the highway. I think it might be the same. The one I used to work with Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever else. Those are usually some of the 2 main ones. You know what I'm saying? Like throughout the day or so. And we've got a house of probably about like 4 different producers. You know what I'm saying? Like, so between that and other projects coming along, that's the day part. I have to try to relegate phone calls to another time after that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so usually probably about another like 2 to 3, 4 hours of just catching up between emails that'll probably come through my boss. You know what I'm saying? The people, independent labels, you know what I'm saying, that either want to partner with UMG, they want to work with, you know, other A&Rs, trying to get them to figure out how they can, you know what I'm saying, obtain resources, this, that, and the other. Usually that goes in that later scale, you know what I'm saying, like just those kind of phone calls and stuff. And then I check in with any other like artists or projects or anything that I'm working on, check numbers, Spotify numbers, you know what I'm saying, like start to really look at what other, you know, back end stuff throughout the day so I can be able to kind of catch up through marketing or music, whichever, you know what I'm saying, toe there at that point.
Yeah. So with it being that much stuff going on a typical day, and you say things like, you check numbers and you do this. Me and Triz are big on productivity. We're big on productivity apps and stuff like that. So, like, what are the tools that you use throughout your day? I mean, anything from Google Calendar to Twitter.
Yeah, the whole G Suite. Shout out to the G Suite, like that whole G Suite. I do keep outlooks, just overall for project management base, and then also sales and other sheets and stuff. Like worksheets to be able to keep up with changing and form and stuff if I'm sending it out to people. I can check some numbers on campaigns through Spotify and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I might, do something like that just to be able to see, where the target is coming from, this, that, and the other. But those are usually just the usual day kind of stuff. Google keeps me, pretty straight. Google's my friend. Right.
How much time do you spend every day on, like, social media platforms?
Not as much as I should. But no, literally doing the research and checking on stuff like damn near all day. You know what I'm saying? Right. At least a steady to be productive, like 5 hours throughout the day. So it's probably broken up where I can actually sit there. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like do that. So that's 2.5 hours between,
Right. That's not bad.
So I got a question. Winzo asked me, but I feel like it's one of these ones that is kind of fits for all of us. Have you ever started working with an artist because they were too difficult to work with? No, I haven't. They weren't. I wouldn't say difficult would be the word. I started working with one because he kind of gave up.
Yeah.
I think he got into it and then realized he wasn't cut out for it, and then it just kind of fell apart from there. So it would be stuff like that, but it's not. Most of the people that I've been around, it's not been difficult. Because a lot of people I work with, I'd be cool with, like, friends, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's never been a difficult. What about you?
Yeah, the same thing. I think once you get to a certain point where you see somebody doesn't want to work at that same level, it's hard to sit up there and just take them and say, come on, man, get it all together so we can work at the same point. If they got to that point where it's all broken down, it's hard to really put them back together. They have to put themselves back together.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I haven't had anybody who I just felt like, I just had to smile where I had one that was close.
I'm sure it's what it is.
Yeah, because I was new at the A&R thing. You know what I'm saying? So, it goes like that. It is it is almost like a hazing system kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Of just like, hey, you're the new guy, so you're supposed to be in charge of me. You can't control me kind of thing.
Right.
But it made me want to say, well, how about fuck this? And then you can go about your... But that was one thing I had to learn. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, every situation ain't about you just taking it and being like, fuck this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, okay, you're going to act an ass, but I'm still going to do my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it didn't make me want to give up. It just made me want to associate myself, you know what I'm saying? Like, with what was going on and be like, hey, let me do my job, and you do what you do.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, but it's more so artists will stop working with me because if somebody's not working up to the level that they're supposed to work, or they're not showing the discipline that they want, and you keep reminding them of things that they haven't done that they said they were going to do, they kind of tend to leave you alone at a certain point. Because now you're like 3 things behind. Like, oh, you're supposed to have this to me on Tuesday, so we can do this on Thursday. And then Thursday, what's up with this? And then what's up with that? And then those people kind of generally
because they don't want to hear that. They don't want to keep.
And I like that. I'm like, it's awesome. You don't want to have an awkward conversation with me. I already know you don't. But you're just going to be at a point like, all right, this is... Yeah, and I mean, you don't want to necessarily, that's the thing about going through those steps and stuff. It's kind of like that once you have the experience and stuff, I mean, the bearer of the truth is just to keep working at the same, you know what I'm saying, like pace and stuff. Just communicate it. You like, hey, dog, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fuck with this shit and I don't know no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, at least tell me that. But if you start staving off and I'm working at the same pace and stuff, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's real.
People don't like to have uncomfortable conversations.
Nah.
But that's really part of communication.
Right.
Like, you got to have those uncomfortable conversations. But like I said, so a lot of times people will just cease all communication instead of having a truthful, uncomfortable conversation.
Right.
Which I'm not mad at.
Nah, and it's like that. That's one thing I always say. It's like it's hard to. I know one of the questions and I always get is like, what would make you wanna, really work with an artist or really, what I'm saying, like maybe go through the whole like gambit with them. And it's literally them listening, but it's that development. Right. You know what I'm saying, through that part. Like you want them to become a better person. That's what I want. You know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of times it's not the fact of the music business. They had a fucked up interaction with a person or an experience kind of thing. So once we get through those portions of people who you couldn't trust, you couldn't, you know what I'm saying, that didn't know how to make music, who didn't know how to make music for you, who didn't, you know what I'm saying, believe in your vision, all that kind of stuff, we're supposed to be better people out of that. You know what I'm saying? So then when we have those kind of conversations, then it ain't it's like talking to your family, like talking to your brother kind of stuff. You might not like what he's saying kind of shit, but you ain't gonna say, you know what I'm saying? Like, you full of shit and I don't want to work with you no more. And you ain't gonna say all that. You know what I'm saying? You're just gonna be, all right. And then you're gonna keep it moving, but you're gonna have that moment of like, bro told me some shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, he didn't have to tell me. He told me for the, you know what I'm saying, the best of me kind of stuff. Yeah. And he's always been that way. You know what I'm saying? So that's one thing that does shine through, you know what I'm saying, like all that kind of stuff is really having that ability to grow, you know what I'm saying, as a person through this, because you're going to put in the years, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you might as well be the best when, you at the table or you working with somebody who's worth it, you know what I'm saying? Like, so you can be a value to it.
Man, that's dope, though. What we got in this chat?
See, Damon James Music says, if you like the music you heard, what's the next step? Do you call right back, ask for more beats, etc.?
I'll call right back. God damn. Like these motherfuckers is hot. No, I mean, what I probably do is do research. You know what I'm saying? At that point, if I probably haven't done it before, probably see exactly what else is lacking or that they probably really do need, or be able to learn more about that area. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then I can understand what artists they probably worked with. I probably know some artists who, you know what I'm saying, like is around kind of stuff. So it's like, all right, either I can connect you to that point, or maybe I need to know more of the impression of what's going on around that, why you can't get some beats out, or, you know what I'm saying, why you're trying to work with more artists kind of stuff. So I like to just get that scope, you know what I'm saying, at that point of like, what is it that you're necessarily, because, of course, I want to get with artists, I want to get with a major, you know what I'm saying, like, of course, but what are you wanting to really do in that area and during that time period that's going to be able to get you to that point?
Right, exactly.
So I want to ask you, because you talk a lot about artist development, which is something that you don't hear a lot of people talk about anymore. What is your process when developing an artist?
First thing is to see exactly where they're at when it comes to what's current. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that they put out in the last 12? You know what I'm saying? Like, now it's coming down a lot lower. You know what I'm saying? Like, because artists will have stuff, it's like 2018, you know, it's like you gotta have it current now. So I definitely want to know what they've put out, and then what's the process that they went through. That's my number one thing, because that lets me know if they had professionals around them. If they did just do it in their basement, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? It might be time to take it to that next level, or to curate like a certain amount of records out of there to maybe just go reconstruct kind of thing, because sometimes they just didn't have that around them. Then I pretty much see if from that process, if it's more of the reconstruction part, maybe they do just need to get with a producer, or, you know what I'm saying, like really start to do that process. They're a vocalist. I can kind of tell they really need some coaching. You know what I'm saying? Not just, oh, well, you need to sing better. You know what I'm saying? They need vocal training. You know what I'm saying? Like, so identifying like little things like that. You know what I'm saying? Seeing if from first project to next project might really be time for a photo shoot and a branding, you know what I'm saying, like, just to help them redo their image kind of thing, because artists like to be in their shells and in their cave kind of stuff. They're like, you're an entertainer. I don't say that every time like that, just like, because they don't understand. They'll talk about the baby, or they'll talk about other people and like, they're entertaining though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't fuck with them, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. He's doing that part of entertainment kind of stuff, so I can never be mad at him kind of stuff. Because it's better than being the most beautiful painting, but if you're in a dark room in a closed house, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, so I need them to be able to know they have to be that. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
regardless of if they dance, all that kind of stuff, coordination on stage, you know what I'm saying, like practicing, you know what I'm saying, like rehearsal kind of stuff. I just want to know they do that for them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, because that's not something that I can make them do. I just want to know if they go through that kind of time period to either practice or to work on their vocals or to write. You know what I'm saying? Like different things like that. So usually once I go through that process of identifying, I either identify if they really do need more music or newer music kind of stuff and having that hard conversation with them of like, it's time to take that next step kind of stuff. It's time for you to take the time, save up your money, stop buying bullshit belts and goddamn iPhone holder things and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, and save up your money and stop wasting your time, because these people are not going to tell you the truth. These people are going to waste your time. You know what I'm saying? Then you'll come back around to somebody like me and you won't have it. Or I told you exactly what to do to avoid that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so usually I have to kind of defunk that funk that's on them kind of stuff of just being out there and being heard or whatever. So it's on, wake up. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
come on, man. Like, this is real out here kind of stuff. So if you want to really get real fan support, talk about the visions, because I really want to know where they want to go with the music too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times it can kind of stop it. Okay, this is what I want to create. But other people, artists from Nashville, he's really heavy into mental wellness. You know what I'm saying? So his project really came from him being in a dark place, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then being able to write out of that and still have joy kind of stuff. That's a great story to tell through music and packaging kind of stuff. But see, then we had the conversation and turned it towards mental health, and then now we have Mental Health America that's a part of the project and sponsoring, you know what I'm saying, his events and stuff.
Oh, that's
because, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, because they took it in for what it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what I like to be able to see, where it can be able to be them all the way through. They just have to be ready to be them, so they goes through the music, not having old music that, sorry, you paid blow and so, you know what I'm saying? It sucked. But you got to bite the bullet now and really work with somebody who's going to take it up to this next level where you do have all 9 versions that you need, you know what I'm saying? Clean, dirty, for TV, for, you know what I'm saying? Like, all that stuff. You got it mixed, you got it mastered, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you're prepared to go out here, not just, you know, rushing in this out. You got cover art, you got a little time period, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, how artists supposed to let stuff go, you know what I'm saying? Like, so then you can see the difference of stuff. So yeah, it's just it's a lot in the process kind of stuff. But that's where I like to go to it, so at least I know what we're creating, or if I can help with the recomposition. And then if it goes towards something with the marketing, then we can come up with some other ideas or try to throw out some other things, especially nowadays, that's gonna get, you know what I'm saying, more people involved kind of stuff. So if that's I did the 17-year-old Mercedes Marie. She is on a second EP, and it's called Feelings. And I just thought about teenage girls' feelings. I reached out to the Boys and Girls Club of America. You know what I'm saying? Like, and just set up for her to be able to talk to those girls and play her music for them. You know what I'm saying? That way, it makes a relatability directly of what she's making kind of stuff. I wouldn't expect, you know what I'm saying, us to ride around and listen to, but that's for that demographic kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff we'd hear as parents, and, you know what I'm saying, taking somebody, you know, okay, nice little girl, sound kind of cool, you know what I'm saying? Like, you a Wet Seal or goddamn Forever 21, and you know what I'm saying? Like, that's how that impacts them, because now they saw the girl they saw there, and it's playing. Sorry. Right. I saw I put it on silent. It was like alarm. But you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So it's just really seeing it for what it's worth, so then I can be able to help them. You know what I'm saying? Develop it so then it can actually go somewhere during that time period, not just a DJ coalition.
That's dope too. Because even when you saying the Boys and Girls Club, I wouldn't, like, my brain would not have went there. I'm like, oh snap, that was a great idea.
See?
Yeah.
It pays to have somebody like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, that's really dope. You mentioned artist branding earlier. If I'm an artist that you're looking at and I got my brand together, like, what characteristics do you look for in, like, an artist with your branding?
Yeah, it's really having all that kind of stuff on scope of, like, the demo, you know what I'm saying, like, and really knowing the demographic of where they're going to be with it and how it's going to be able to, relate towards the people. If it does go into more of a merchandise and more of an intimate experience kind of stuff, then that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to see those kind of things, or if they're R&B and that is more of their, light, if it is more hip hop and it is more street kind of stuff, then they just need to have that imagery, and where they go and that group of people. It really kind of go down to who they connecting with too. So a lot of times features, people they work with regionally and stuff, that can really help that, nonetheless. So if it is more street motherfuckers, they got more street cred through it. But if they community based, then that can, they can show, okay, they street, they in the, they in it, but even being more of a R&B, and doing that kind of stuff, being more art, driven, being in more art museums and stuff. That's the kind of thing I want to be able to see, being in more non-traditional spots, so then it can be more organic of their fan base. So if they are older, I hear the Scissors and the Lucky Days and what's the new girl's name? I forgot her name, but I hear them on Urban AC. I literally listen to like 97.5 half the time if I go in between, listening to something or whatever else. And that's the older people station, but they got, the people who are really booming on there, they're on there. Because they go to a whole nother demographic of people who just listen to music, they just stream it. It sounds good, I stream it. So they're able to compete in those kind of measures because their branding is just like, look at this guy. Making great music with a guitar and and it reminds people of this and it reminds people still of that. Because it's got new sonics and then still got the old resonance of stuff that people listen to.
That's pretty dope.
How important are like numbers and followers to? Because as it's like a lot of labels who sign people based off their following. Mm-hmm. How important is it, do you think, that people build their following up?
It's important. I think it's important. I think it's to keep it diverse. Because so many things are changing that I feel like the numbers are important, but now it's starting to turn around. I always say we can all make numbers and interact on here and do all that, but now it's like a reverse interaction now. Now people want to see you. They want to see. Even if you're on the gram and you put up a post, they don't want you to see the flyer. They want to see it animate, but they want to see you too. Like they want to see more interaction kind of stuff. So I feel like the numbers are important, but to actually have a living organic number base, that's where you see those people really winning it or able to catch that tide of the music now. And then you look up and it's like, oh shit, all right, that was quick, because it really did. Because of the whoa, He killed the song. It was a dope ass track. But what made it move faster is, because we could all do that.
Exactly.
So
being relatable.
Yeah, just being relatable.
No, go ahead. What is your take on producers trying to get placements and leasing beats online?
Shit, you gotta do what you gotta do. I just don't do the same ones, so you can keep up with it. I always say that. Keep up with whatever it is, so you don't end up, selling it off or getting a placement with somebody. And you say, oh shit, I think I sold that beat, and then you screw yourself out of a placement. That's easy. Y'all know about that.
That's a big theme on this show.
Yeah.
Placement, production versus selling beats.
Yeah.
But okay, let's say I'm an artist and I'm a producer that you're working with. We're working together, but shit just is not popping. How long do we work together before you call it quits? Like, look, man, it's just not working.
That's the artist and the producer, and then me.
No, you and an artist.
Okay, me and an artist, and then
or you and a producer.
Okay, and then say the last part again.
So it's just not happening. Whatever we're trying to do is just not happening. How much time do you invest in that working relationship before you say, look, I gotta cut it?
I ain't gonna lie. I'm kind of a little bit quicker these days. Everybody hit with that 2020 thing, but it's just because it depends. We said the scale earlier from an artist to a label head. See, it depends if the project is coming from another A&R or from some other source kind of stuff. Then I really want to be able to make it the best it can be. So then I can take it to my boss or take it to whoever
Right.
and say, look, this is why this is not working out right now.
Right.
So we either need to find a solution for them or for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then it's the best situation. I can handle it, you know what I'm saying, one-on-one, but that's the perfect, you know, a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of structures, you have to handle it like that. It's like, you know, before you go to HR kind of shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, that's how I feel like a lot of times. I'm almost like a little bit of human resources too, because I got to know how to interact with people.
Right.
Plus, I am kind of the, you know, be truthful, I'm the recognizance for everybody else kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you want, somebody who is still 1A, because they almost don't count kind of stuff when they're running the kind of shit, to be able to report and be able to tell them everybody in the whole timeline, you know what I'm saying, is good. Everything is being implemented. So that time period can be funny, but I try to make sure it's coordinated, you know what I'm saying, or at least they know, like, look, you know what I'm saying, either if it's got to go that way, if it's got to stay right here, we need to either work this shit out or not. Now, if it's personally, the point I'm at,
The way
it's
my life's
quick.
set up?
Yeah, it's quick because I'm always active kind of stuff, and I feel like if you're communicating with somebody, we're a team. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, you know what I'm saying, regardless of just the easy project management side I might do, or really being heavy into it, or just, you know, being a good resource, I always want to just keep that same relatability. So if somebody comes to me a certain way, not that I hadn't even done nothing, but they just, you know, people be up in arms kind of shit.
Facts.
And I don't feel like I should have to necessarily overly explain or come a certain way if they're not looking at it in the same team mentality that I am. You know what I'm saying? Like, because if I know I've taken a lot of time to, you know, communicate. So, you know, it goes like that sometimes, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to say the thing, hey, we on here. A lot of times is some people have to fail to really realize what the hell they got going on.
Yeah,
you know what I'm
that's
saying?
super,
Like, so sometimes the bearer responsibility as an A&R really is to let them do that. You know what I'm saying? Just because some people you just can't hold their hand. You know what I'm saying? Some people you just can't sit there and, you know what I'm saying, coddle them the whole time, especially if they're going to, you know what I'm saying? It'll be like that. It'll be a little all right, then, you know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes you have to just do that for yourself as the person, because they need to learn you can't do people like that.
Exactly.
You know, especially in this.
Yeah, good lesson. That's a real good lesson. Hold on, do we have anything in the chat? Because I know we're going to end up being short on time and they're going to kick us off. I want to make sure everybody gets their questions answered.
Prentice says, how likely would it be to sign a producer and an artist together? They built something together.
I mean, it's possible they flame that shit out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's more than possible, because that works both ways that you really would want it, because you don't have to worry about the artist getting in with a producer, and now you got a fire-ass producer this time. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, now that's best case scenario.
Right, exactly.
That's a win-win. I'd do that any
So it
day.
goes back to the development and building
Yeah, because that's already doing shit. I can walk in, and if everything's cool and we got that kind of dynamic, then that's more than half the work. You know, so I could really do my job at that point of just being like 1/3. That's like, oh, okay, let's go through this, and we don't have to go through this and then go to this person, then explain this, and then go through the process, and then they might not understand the process, and then, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, yeah. So,
Quintino says, in your opinion, what's a good number of singles an artist should release in a 12-month span?
shit. It's just depending on their demo. You know what I'm saying? Like, because nowadays, you can see people go off of it and they just dropping shit. And then some people, you like, so when are they dropping after? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's 2020. You're still looking at 2019. So, I mean, I'd say for me, of anybody who's really, like, rising up, in how long of a time period did they ask? In a year? In a year? No matter what, I'd like to see at least 3 to 4. I think every quarter just staying active, or at least having some kind of active campaign or something that you can really have, you know, going for that. It should be going on every 3 months, no matter what. If that's running and performing, and then debuting a newer song, and then getting the traction off of that. So then when you release it, you've already got a natural base that's going off of that to that song. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you come back around and you're doing more video stuff, or, you know what I'm saying, content stuff. So then that can lead them towards, you know what I'm saying, building it up. So, I mean, I'd say, yeah, at least 3 to 4. Just so they can kind of really keep a good carousel of stuff before, if they're not letting go of an EP or, you know what I'm saying, project kind of thing.
That's dope to say quarterly. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Pretty smart.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. And I keep hearing you bring up the content thing. So you think between music, it's important for people to build their content.
Yeah.
Just like how you said build a catalog for their music, they need a catalog for their content.
Because that's almost more than half of the marketing. You know what I'm saying? Because I run across so many people, sorry podcast, that it's just like the marketing, it matters, but it kind of doesn't if you don't know what you're marketing.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I run across so many artists, it's like, oh man, I want to market it and I got to market it, but they don't know what they're marketing. They're just marketing music they think is good. But what is going to gravitate people towards you? What is going to make more people see you in your city? What's going to make DJs, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the kind of thing I think about, kind of thing. So it's just really taking that time to really see, like, what is it in between time that you can really create this, like, content with that. And that's what drives the people. So then they know if you are doing mental wellness, then you're at these different places just talking about that. You got clean music, you ready to go. It ain't no problem.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you already thinking like that, you talking about shooting folks' mama and kidnapping their baby
you
and
can't
stuff.
really go
you
there.
can't go there.
So
you don't have...
Right. They're off the table.
Yeah, they're off the table completely. So
No,
that makes it difficult. You know what I'm saying? At that point, if you can't have something just past the boo bullshit, you just gonna need that budget and that time just to look flashy and have them bitches around, but you're not making something where you can show the Commonwealth of Black Thought. You know what I'm saying? Like a show that we are progressing in different parts of the city and stuff, and show that kind of stuff, because you're not thinking like that kind of stuff, or even making that kind of music where you already know, hell, you can ride around wherever you want to, listen to whatever you want to, but if they don't encapsulate that vibe of riding around on a Saturday night in Atlanta kind of stuff, they ain't gonna get no play. You know what I'm saying? Like, so at least if they game with me, I'm like, yo, I'm making some play ass shit for a bitch to ride in your shit, and for you to smoke and drink too. All right, cool. I'm gonna want 8 bangers of some UGK, you know what I'm saying? Like some Player 3-6 Mafia, Big Crit sounding, you know what I'm saying? Shit. So
we are paused on Instagram. Hold on.
Hey.
Alright, now we're good. So alright, I'm a producer. I'm in this social media landscape. What type of content should I be putting out?
I definitely say, like, come up with a good carousel of things that you can put out. You know, there's going to be content-wise beats, you know what I'm saying, on IG, on different platforms, you know what I'm saying? Like, just take the absolute, you know, because I know what you know, that's the biggest thing that I do run across, too, is, like, how many things should you let out for necessarily free, and then how many things you should work. But if you are building up that catalog and that brand, you know what I'm saying, like, they're definitely 40% skeletons that you can put out there in different genres to say, okay, cool, this is what I'm doing. Secondarily, I say work with different people. You know what I'm saying? Like, people, a lot of times we get in that bubble of hip-hop, and hip-hop is always, man, we ain't gonna make it hot until they get to that point. You know what I'm saying? But pop people, R&B people, they think about, you know what I'm saying, different avenues to put out their music. You know what I'm saying? Like, so even working with them, they probably do have somebody who's creating content for them, so that's automatically a easier end for you. You know what I'm saying? And then going to, you know, different beat battles, or, you know what I'm saying, like different things for them to be able to network with, and, you know, networking events, period. You know what I'm saying? Like, because we've all had to be out there and still go, you know what I'm saying, two things to sit there and make that, you know what I'm saying, that name and that association with stuff. So many more studio collabs, you know what I'm saying, many more things like that they can be able to be, you know what I'm saying, broadcasted or cataloged for them over that time period. That's how they can really, you know what I'm saying, start to make that brand, you know what I'm saying, just more relevant until the major replacements of the, you know what I'm saying, working with the hot artists that they really, really, really want to work with. They just got to, you know what I'm saying, start really getting them to be able to see it.
Right, okay. So I know a lot of people out there, because one of the biggest questions I get is, what should I put out? A lot of people, producers, they don't want to show themselves. How much of showing themselves, talking to the camera, should a producer necessarily be doing?
It just depends on the brand. You know, one thing that we were talking about earlier is if you are going towards more of an educational route physically, then that could be something that you would show, because, you know what I'm saying, it's physically and your talent and your gift, you know what I'm saying? But if you are somebody that is going for more of a vibe and more of an artist, you might want to do the mysterious thing and, you know what I'm saying, do the, okay, I'm just showing how I kind of create stuff, but not necessarily worrying about the educational
Technique,
portion
right.
and, you know what I'm saying, like really showing it like that.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Real good answer there, buddy. All right, what else we got?
he thought he was going to give me a doozy.
I want to make sure these people get their questions answered.
I think we got all of them. I think it's about to cut us off.
Okay.
It's gonna come up soon.
Okay, cool. So we could actually go out on our own accord at this point. So in wrapping up the show, first of all, wonderful having you here, man.
I appreciate it, bro.
it.
And shout out to Realistic. I don't want to undermine his. His effort in making. He's the one that actually made this interview happen.
Yeah,
So,
shout out to Realistic.
Yeah. He actually hooked this interview up, man. So shout out to him. So I guess in closing, tell the people where they can find you, all your ats and all that, and if you are looking for anyone's talent, how should they hit you up?
Hey, man. At Demand Nation. First of all, thank y'all. Because I said thank y'all once, but again, for real, like literally talking about this and breaking this down for people, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, y'all are too experienced in this, so I really do appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? To give another perspective. At Demand Nation is Instagram. At _Demand Nation is Twitter. Website coming soon, demandnation.com. And you can email me at wearedemandnation@gmail. That is
Your email's about to go ham.
Oh yeah, your email's about to go super crazy.
Okay.
Can you follow his advice about how many records to send and how to introduce
how to
yourself?
approach, right?
Maybe go back and watch this episode fully and then approach
Yes,
him.
please.
That block button is real.
Yeah.
Report as spam.
That's a fact. And I'm going to go out on a limb and ask you, do you think you'd be able to join us at our next live event and be on the panel again? Because you kind of killed it.
Definitely, bro. Nah, I appreciate the love first time around. Y'all always showing it, so I'm with it.
I'm waiting on the final email.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
And then we'll have that date.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I guess. It did.
They don't even give us the countdown.
No, they ain't even count us down. So
They like.
it was real. YouTube, we still here. So I guess that's it, man. It's been another episode of Unquantized Podcast. You want to plug something?
Yo, get that new Power Level sample pack, theproducerkit.com. Then check out my YouTube. Should producers learn how to DJ? It's the newest video. Check that out.
Dope, man. And visit soundoracle.net. Sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already. It's as simple as going to the site. You'll get a pop-up. Go ahead, enter your email, enter your name, and you'll probably get some cool free stuff. As a matter of fact, you will definitely get some cool free stuff if you do that, and be on the lookout for more stuff to come.